Hi, Twin Flame Collective. It's such a pleasure to read for you. It's such a pleasure to be part of the collective. It's really special to choose that person that encourages you to choose yourself. I'm not sure where you've been on your journey or where you were before you started your journey, but you know, choosing yourself and choosing a relationship that encourages you to work on yourself and see yourself is really empowering. And the result is self-worth, self-love, self-acceptance. So I'm really proud of all of you for joining me. And here's your messages. I've been getting some downloads, and I've done a little tarot. And I really want to start out with saying that the most powerful person in life is determined by how they make you feel. Who's the most powerful person in your life? And how do they make you feel? Well, we have had a lot of shifts going on. We're still in post-eclipse effects from that solar eclipse. And we're about to have the full moon in Libra on the 12th. And also, Venus stations direct the 13th. It's going to bring clarity to love. It's going to help understanding around desires and boundaries. It's really perfect for the new moon in Taurus on April 27th. You really are going to be assessing self-worth. Aspects of Taurus really, they bring comfort and stability. And that's really something that you've been kind of waiting for to balance out in the collective. The feminine, she's really been stepping into her power. And the masculine has really been doing a lot of shadow work. And, well, I've got the 3 R's for you. In this section, let's remember to reflect, realign, and rebuild. That is what's going to get us to where we need to go. Divine feminine. You are not settling. You are like centered in your self-worth. It's crazy. You're really chosen because of your virtue. There's so many things you've said no to. So the things that you say yes to are very important to you, and they really represent your values. It's important that that your divine masculine shows up for you and aligns with you based on his values. He's really looking at that right now, you know. Also, you learned a neat trick, didn't you? The reason you're kind of standing in your power and your success right now is because you have been alchemizing heartbreak into power. This is beautiful, you know. You don't compete, you create. And you will be happy. Focus on change, you know. You have some communication to do with your divine masculine. You know, divine masculine. I keep getting this message for you to explore aspects of yourself. Explore them. What's going on now? What have you learned? What have you seen? Explore aspects of love. What what is the definition of love now? What have you learned about exactly how you define love in your life? And are you moving to represent that? Are you matching divine feminine in her virtue? Well, there's a new reality that lies in truth. And kind of, you've also been told to sort of lean a little bit out of the 3D for a while and lean into your spiritual path for a while. Realign with divine and don't be so caught up in work, bills, and family responsibilities and all the things that come with being a divine masculine. You guys, you kill it. But sometimes you forget like self-care that's needed to keep you in your happiness on your spiritual path and your shadow work especially. It's really important that you realize that you have outgrown illusion. I was getting outgrown illusions. And when I was getting outgrown, it was emphasizing on the grown part. You've been growing. And I want to encourage you to keep growing and give you a little praise for no longer choosing the illusions. It's very confusing for you for a while. You know, your power is rooted in truth and peace and choosing the right love for you. You know, the love that chooses you. You know, again, with the divine feminine, it's really important that you don't make her fight for the bare minimum. You know, sometimes you might be just going through some thinking or healing and whatever it might cause a little an emotional withdrawal or whatnot. But she's asking you, you know, to open up. And I think now, especially with this shift, with Venus kind of coming back into our atmosphere, it's going to show you that your strength is in vulnerability, you know, actually having the courage to stand in your truth and just emotionally mature. This has been happening for a while, and I see you just keep taking step after step after step, and it's wonderful. You know, this union has really encouraged you to walk away from old patterns, you know? Again, walk away from the old patterns that kept you from choosing your sacred path. You know, you're also maturing spiritually, you know? The thing about maturing spiritually is you're going to have to confront karma, grief, and take accountability. The divine feminine, she is in her clarity. And I'm going to tell you, she will not stand for the minimum. She is receptive only to the truth and real partnership. Surprise! Well, I think both of you need to focus on new things because this marks an ending of an era. All of those old things that stood between you, that held you back, maybe confused your partnership, they're energies that have accumulated over time, a long time. And in some way, it might have clouded your judgment or really made you forget like exactly who your partner is and what exactly they represent and how much you can really trust them to continue to show up for you in a safe place, with an open heart. So don't let fear ruin that for you. Don't just cling to what you know, though. It's really important to keep taking leaps of faith into the unknown. Keep tapping into your courage and your strength. The thing about strength is you can push something away from you, and you can also pull something towards you. And really understanding how to balance that power of strength and having the courage to use it appropriately and not kind of be triggered and fear-based. It will take you outside your comfort zone. And that is where Spirit is encouraging you to go. You see, with the ending of an era, we're sort of really rewriting our own versions of ourselves. And it's important for you to fulfill your new version of your dream. Bust into that journal. Start figuring out where you're at, There's some things around your old patterns that really held you back. They didn't build your confidence. Maybe you learned some things about yourself many years ago that you weren't exactly proud of, and you kind of clung to those narratives that truly no longer exist. You see, that version of you then that made mistakes learned from those mistakes. And lately, and especially for Divine Masculine, you've been going through kind of an ego death. And fortunately, that is really helping you see those old patterns, how you kept reopening old cycles, stuff like fear and regret and shame and all those great things. They can start creating karma that is really hard to, number one, to see, and number two, to be accountable for and change. You have to have acceptance of who you are now. You have to allow yourself to make change. But this is the ending of the era, and change is inevitable. There is this beautiful moment that you're both coming to where you are meeting each other in the same place finally. And it's because you have explored aspects of a new reality, not just a shift in reality. Divine Masculine, you've really had to explore a new reality. Everything in your life has been changing. Work, health, family, especially love. And it's important to ask yourself now, what is it? What's underneath those shadows? What Divine Masculine, what is love now? What was your answer? Well, part of maturing emotionally is setting boundaries. Setting boundaries for yourself to make sure that you continue to show up in the way that you've promised yourself you would, with integrity, courage. And, the aspects of love, what about loyalty? I know you expect loyalty. Divine Masculine wouldn't settle for anything less, but what does loyalty mean to you? In what ways are you loyal to yourself? And this is what Divine Feminine has been walking through recently. She's learning how to be loyal to herself. And she might not have the same kind of tolerance that she used to label as acceptance in her unconditional love for you. And you might want to listen to her when she's setting boundaries. It's 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 not that anything that has been put in play or any boundaries that have been made are hard to achieve, you know. In this kind of spiritual journey, the the actual incentive and the intention is freedom. When you choose a partner that really supports you and your success and your happiness, that's freedom. When you can unburden and admit when you've made mistakes in a safe place, you can really take accountability and apologize for certain things that you probably could have done better. This is for both of you. You know, that's freedom. That's freedom. The truth is freedom. And your partnership really represents the truth. This journey represents you walking in the light of truth and not fearing the past because it doesn't exist anymore. You are no longer the version of yourself that you were then. And exploring this new version of yourself is going to take a little time. So I really welcome you to explore. Explore how you can turn certain feelings like grief or sadness, regret, whatever, how you can alchemize those feelings into gratitude, into experience, into really knowing that a lot of your truth now is going to lead you to self-love, you know, when you recognize that you have the power to change and you focus on change, embracing change. You really are able to step into love, step into compassion for yourself and for others. Yeah. You're going to find the comfort and stability that Taurus is going to bring. You know, the new moon is going to be like an Empress moon. It's about creation. It's about nurture. And Taurus is the sign of the Divine Mother. That kind of love, that kind of energy around love this month will lead you back to each other over and over again. It'll start to etch that path. The path that the new versions of both of you will have to explore to build your new dreams. Expanding awareness, you know. Well, I'm really proud of you. I'm really proud of you for choosing the right love. The love for yourself, the one who loves you back, and choosing the most powerful person in your life. The one that's determined by how they make you feel. It's no secret that when you receive a gift that you've asked for or life takes a turn and your wish fulfillments start to come through, it's really important that you ask yourself, what am I willing to sacrifice? And the thing with the divine feminine and the divine masculine is sometimes the things we think we have to sacrifice, we can actually compromise on with the right kind of communication and a deep level of trust that really comes from transparency. Sometimes you'll be able to modify the things that you thought that you had to sacrifice and listen to each other's boundaries around that. And make a couple compromises that sort of fine tune your individuality, your unique nature. So both of you guys, ask your partner, you know, what it is that you need to let go of in order to embrace this reciprocity. You've chosen the right partner now, and you're going to be in the light of receiving. And it might be hard for you. You may have had like attachment styles in the past that could have been a little codependent and could have been, well, a space where you might have felt like you were doing a lot of giving, maybe receiving a little bit. But you don't have to give in order to be loved like that. You don't have to be needed in order to be loved. Now, of course you're needed in a divine partnership, but first and foremost, you're chosen. You're chosen by somebody who is really anchored into the equality of your relationship, giving back as well. And this might be new to you. I mean, as you're going through this journey, and what you're saying no to basically is establishing your self-worth, you're really starting to see things clearly, like why did I settle for less? I don't know why I kept putting myself in a position where I wasn't choosing me first. And that's great. It's great to realize that. Have no regret around that. Those choices led you here. They led you to each other. They led you to examine your attachment styles and create healthy ones. And I've seen you with a little ego disillusion and divine feminine and her hours and hours of shadow work. I've seen you choosing yourself again. You should have a partnership with someone that encourages you to put yourself first. You see, you're the only one that truly knows what you need. And in doing that, you're the one that is supposed to communicate to your partner what you need. And when you choose the right person, they're going to listen, because they're going to want to give you what you need in the same way that you want to give them what they need. But what's more important is that you get what you want. And if what you want is to create more than a relationship, to create maybe a marriage, to create a legacy, you are going to really have to build a solid foundation. And that comes through divine timing. It might seem that you've done a lot of waiting, or that you've had to repeat a lot of cycles to learn some lessons that might not have stuck the first time. And the lessons that take a long time to learn are the lessons that stick with you. And entering into union with someone, it's important to really have a lot of gratitude for all of those lessons that you've learned. That is what stabilizes your foundation. And love can be painful. But take a note from Divine Feminine. When you make yourself vulnerable enough to feel heartbreak, love yourself enough to alchemize that heartbreak into power. That's where the happiness lies. The Divine Feminine right now, she's creating an intuitive web of connection with you. And it's because you've started to open up to receiving that connection. And the reason that you have decided to open up to that is because you've decided that you're worthy. And she's decided that you're worthy. And it's about time you both decide that you're both worthy of love and joy. And you're capable of fulfilling the needs of someone else if you just listen. Sometimes when you're looking for answers and you're asking your partner questions and you're trying to figure out things, it's really beneficial to just sit with yourself and know that the answers will come in the silence. Well, I've been thinking a lot about illusions and about how confusion, sometimes options, has really made an impact on the collective. It's kind of the Seven of Cups card. It just keeps coming up, and there's a lot of different things in those cups. There's money, there's a snake, there's spirituality, there's marriage. There's a lot going on. I'm bringing this up because the confusion and the illusion are over. You can no longer choose that or hide out in those illusions. The eclipse sort of broke them all up and shined the light of truth inside of you. And what you thought was a really difficult choice to make was actually the easiest choice you'll ever make. And that choice isn't to choose a relationship or to choose a person. It's the choice to step into your power. It's the choice to let go of the things that are toxic, to say goodbye to the things that no longer serves you, and embrace a new version of yourself. And just as much as you're changing, your partner is changing too. So I don't know what it's been that you let go of during this eclipse season, but you did. You let go of some things, emotions, maybe a person or a relationship, maybe items, things that you kept or stored that evoked memories. Maybe you let go of feelings that you had attached to memories that brought you regret instead of gratitude. Well, it's shown up in your energy that you guys have released the things that were holding you back. And in doing that, the universe hands you a platter of the things you actually want. You kind of got to get the message straight with your manifesting, because sometimes we really want something or someone, and we're really clear about asking for that, but at the same time we might be creating other energies that are kind of giving mixed messages, like, I'm being hard on myself, I regret all these choices I made, or oh man, I should have really not done this or done this differently. No, you shouldn't have. You're supposed to do everything in order to teach yourself about yourself. Kids, young ones, even the immature versions of ourselves, we don't really consider consequences. It takes time and age to really understand what consequences are. And sometimes those consequences are amazing. You know, it's just like karma. You create good karma just as easily as you create bad karma. And the consequences that come with mistakes, the things that we fear or try to avoid, push away, the consequences are when you actually get your blessings. It's in those sacrifices that you make that a deeper understanding is born. And so also embrace consequences, you know. Have the courage to just walk right through your fear. Because with strength, anything that you have to push away that can take a lot of energy, sometimes those are the things that you should just allow in and deal with them. Deal with you. And the main thing about this reading is this is not a solo journey. Whenever you discover personal truths, whenever you have a spiritual achievement by doing certain types of work, share with your partner. Let them in. Make sure that they are a part of your spiritual path. Make sure you treat them like a partner, showing up like you're in a very important partnership. You see, sometimes those things seem challenging, but the truth of divine union is those things are the things that make your challenges easier. You know, when you open up to somebody emotionally, you not only unburden, but you let them nurture you. And you let them support you while you grow and support you choosing yourself. So I really hope that these messages help and that you are really enjoying the ending of an era and the dissolution of illusion, because you've outgrown that. And walking away, old patterns. I really hope that you're enjoying this new reality because you created it and you have the power to create anything you want individually. When you're choosing someone and they're choosing you, the power the two of you have to create something everlasting is so beautiful. So, you know, doing your own healing is really important. But when you're healed enough to be able to open up and be a little vulnerable and let somebody else in on your healing journey, that is powerful too. That's the medicine right there. Accept the help from your partner. They want to help heal you. And choose virtue. Well, thank you for receiving this message with an open mind and an open heart and continuing your path, your divine path with spirit and with your twin flame. You guys are so lucky to have found each other in this lifetime, and it's not just a coincidence or luck. It's to build legacy. Thank you.